I'm back. It's been a while. I know I don't post videos often anymore. It's mainly because I just don't know what to say anymore. I'm tired. I'm really fucking tired. I think everybody in the States is tired now. Now we've got a lot more to worry about, right? Targets of what we call organized stalking. We in the States have a lot more to worry about now than just our own targeting, right? And people who before were not being targeted and really only had political issues to worry about, now they've got the targeting to worry about too, because it's already gone global. I mean, people are being targeted more and more. I cannot tell you now how many times I've heard, a human rights activist, a liberal, someone from the LGBTQ plus community say weird things are happening. They think they're being followed, this and that and the other. A lot of them don't want to believe that this stalking program is as invasive and insidious as it is, right? It's too horrible to accept, so they don't. So even though they're complaining about it happening, they don't want to acknowledge what it is. Until they're ready to acknowledge the truth, I'm not sure there's anything we can do, right? But right, I'm sorry, I'm giggling. It's more of an almost hysterical, batshit nervous giggling. Oh, I'm laughing and crying at the same time. So guess what happened, guys? The Supreme Court, they voted, they ruled to make it harder to prove online stalking and harassment. Now this will morph into offline stalking as well, right? They made it harder to prove. They made it to the point where they decided, where I can't even focus my thoughts. I'm so exhausted. It's overload. It's a complete just shutdown because of overload. They want to be able to, you have to be able to prove the intent of your stalker. Prove that he had wicked intent. Prove that he intended to cause harm and knew he was doing it. How the fuck do you prove what someone else is thinking? How do you do that? This is going to be difficult now. It's good in just normal cases of stalking, which happen all the time, right? Particularly to teenage girls, and it's no wonder that their suicide rate is increasing. That there's so much hatred and harassment and threats, and the government doesn't show that they give a fuck at all. But even for normal cases of stalking, it's going to be harder to prove now when there are actual threats, right? Like implications of threats or implications where the stalker implies that he has access to you and he's seen, he knows where you were and he knows what you did and, things like that. Like he has access to your life. But when it comes to covert stalking, like the what we call organized stalking or gang stalking, it's going to be even harder now. It's going to be even harder now. We know how that works. They do it in a way that makes it almost impossible to prove what they're doing. Okay? It just got harder to prove what's happening. And this is going to affect people who are already being targeted, right? Current targets. It's going to affect new targets, and there are more and more people being targeted all the fucking time. And it's not just targets of this. It's going to affect, regular, normal victims of stalking. It's going to affect potential victims of sex trafficking because they're followed first. And a lot of them know they're being followed, and they try to tell people, and the cops do nothing. Now it's going to be even harder for them to prove what's happening, right? This makes it easier for the sex traffickers to follow and track their targets without being apprehended. Christ. Who would do this? Who would want this except the abusers themselves, except the stalkers, except the sex traffickers, except the psychopaths, right? Who the hell else would want this? And all of this because of the goddamn corrupt Supreme Court that isn't really... It's hijacked. It's been hijacked. Yeah. well, I don't know what else to say. I'm floored, and I'm in shock. I'm in shock that so few people give a damn. Possibly because they helped create this, when they made sure that the Supreme Court would be filled with ultra-conservative, right-wing Christo-fascists. Yeah. Oh, and now we have neo-Nazis protesting in front of Disneyland. Later.